BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hi, my name's Casper Schmeichel. The following podcast will contain... Do I really have to read this? Does anybody even get offended by bad language or adult themes anymore? I mean, the Brits probably swear more than anybody. They're world champions at it. People do get offended. Right. Oh, sorry. Okay, then. The following podcast will contain some bad language and adult themes. Best not offend anyone, eh?
Crouchy P on the MIC. We're doing this just for free.
Do you give it the sniff test?
Peter, come do the quiz.
Feel a little bit like Dirty Deb.
You and your two silly little mates.
Silly little mates, just wrap it up.
Is it weird doing one of these whilst wearing clothes?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be cruising at 2,400 feet.
Let's free the ketchup.
So much to get off my chest.
And you've always had magnificent teeth.
How bad have things got?
It's going downhill now, isn't it?
The nation will be back stronger. Hello and welcome to another episode of That Peter Crouch Podcast with me, Peter Crouch. Into the second week of our Working From Home series, Chris Stark and Tom Fordyce are with me as usual. You right, boys?
Yeah, not bad.
I've actually got some quite big news, boys. So I was out on my bike the other day in the woods. Who did I bump into? Dion Dublin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nice chat with Dion about the Samrat. He asked how the pod is going. He said, slightly disappointingly, he said, have you done any more pods?
That's a shame.
So I don't think that series 2 and 3 have maybe impacted on Dion.
Why were you both in the woods?
He was walking his dogs. I was on a bike ride with my sons.
Did you keep the regulated distance?
We kept the regulated distance. His dog Maggie did come over and start licking my leg at one point.
So what is this woods that you go to there? So is it some sort of celebrity woods, is it?
It's not, do you know what? It's not far from where Jordan Henderson lives. So there's a possibility you could get more than one Premier League footballer in there. But the weirdest thing was, boys, so this was Sunday. I'm out on the bike and I see Dion. I'm running through the same set of woods at lunchtime today. Who do I bump into? Well, it's Dion again.
But that means he's hanging out in the woods.
Well, so the thing is, I haven't seen Dion since the Samrat all those Christmases ago. Now I've seen him twice in 2 days. So listen, you could say, drum roll please, my encounters with Dion are Dublin.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
No. Did he recognise you then, Tom? Or did you have to introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, it's one of those slightly awkward ones, isn't it? So the first time I've got my bike stuff, I've got my helmet and I've got my sunnies on and stuff like that. So clearly Dion Dublin is used to people stopping, looking a bit surprised and going, hello, Dion. So when I've stopped and gone, hello, Dion, he's given me that sort of, not a full brush off, but just that sort of quite polite hello. And then I've gone, I remember you from the Samrat, and then bang, you can see it all coming back to him. Danny Fenton, Rob Fenton, Miss Chang, the whole lot is come rushing back at him.
I had a dream about the Samrat. You know, like one of those isolation dreams that people are having at the moment. I think it's all just playing with people's minds and that. And I had a dream about the Samrat, which weirdly was more tame than it actually was. Because
That's possible.
Yeah, do you not think this, Crouchy? When you look back on that night, it really was mental what was going on.
I had another moment myself today because I was just walking past the TV and I just happened to catch Corrie. And this is no word of a lie. I saw Dev. It just came flooding back to me, the same sort of Samrat thoughts. And I was thinking, oh my God, look at Dev there. Remember him at the Samrat? That was carnage. And then I thought back to the night and I was thinking, oh my God, we all ended up back at my mum and dad's, didn't we? We walked back down after the Samrat. Honestly, Tom and my dad were just conversing about acid jazz.
What is the crack with soaps then, Crouchy? Because I've not been watching. Are all the actors acting from their homes?
Well, yeah, that's a huge point because I thought they'd all stopped, but I just walked past the TV coming in from the garden and I saw Dev and he was just in the same shop that he's always in.
What we should do then, we should get Dev on this at some point, have a little catch up with him because I'm sort of fascinated to know how he's dealing with everything because he enjoyed a night out, didn't he? And he can't do that at the moment.
Yeah.
What Dev did next. It's quite a nice idea for a show, isn't it?
Isolating Dev. Yeah.
Now, every Wednesday episode is where we'll put your questions to Crouchy. There's been some great ones that have been sent in. But before we start on those, boy, it's nice to have another goalkeeper for our language warning at the start of the pod.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing for us at the minute. It's referees and goalkeepers, and they're not people that I mix with too much. It's a strange one considering I didn't have a lot to do with them, and now I feel like they're on every week.
I suppose they're the responsible ones, Chris, aren't they? Like the goalkeepers are the custodians, the referees make sure that laws are adhered to. They're the natural language warning players and pundits.
Kasper Schmeichel as well, I've always found a bit of a confusing one because he seems quite sincere. I only know a couple of facts about Denmark. And one is that Denmark is the happiest place in the world, or got voted the happiest place in the world. And he doesn't strike me as a particularly happy man. Do you know what I mean? He's quite serious. So I don't know if he bucks the trend with that. And my other Danish fact is obviously that Lego was invented there. And apparently the word Lego actually means play well. Did you know that?
Nice.
What, really?
Nah.
Do you know, I've been to Denmark. I was on a stag do. What a place Copenhagen is.
Oh, yeah.
And I bumped into Nicklas Bendtner, who I found out.
Of course you did.
If you ever need someone in Copenhagen to show you a night out, I can highly recommend Nicklas Bendtner.
Yeah, but surely he's like a hero there. Like, if you're going to contact anyone,
he'd get you in everywhere, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I didn't contact him. I was in a bar and I bumped into him. No, honestly, yeah. I asked Daniel Agger where to go, and he told me a few places, and he was in there. And he said, "I'll come to this place, come to that place," and then he gave me a couple of other places to go the next day. And what a trip we had! I'd like to thank him, really.
There's an unfortunate fact, isn't there, about Nicklas Bendtner when he went on loan to Juve from Arsenal, that Juve didn't sell a single Bendtner replica shirt in all the time he was there. Poor man.
No way.
Not one.
Not a single Bendtner shirt.
What about the one he has to hold up when he signs?
Binned it. No one will pay for it.
He was a great lad, you know. Like he was.
He
was. I didn't really know him before that. Obviously, I played against him quite a few times, but we had a good laugh.
Was he a nice man, a modest man?
No, he was a nice man. Yeah. But I think he believed he was a top player. The fact that obviously came out with some of the quotes that he said and stuff sort of held him back in some ways because he was a very, very good player. You can't put him in the bracket of world class maybe, but he was still a top Premier League player. You know, some of the stick he gets, I think is a bit unfair, but I think it's just down to the fact that he's quietly confident, shall we say.
So Kasper will be on later with his question. That's kind of what we do now. We get him on to do the language warning, and then they ask a question later on. Weirdly enough, I heard from Will Hughes in the week because I was putting a few feelers out to see who'd be interested in coming on the podcast. He didn't really think he was famous enough to be able to do the language warning. Do you think that's a fair call from him?
No, I don't. I don't think it's not about. We're not looking for famous people. I just think it's like-minded people, isn't it? People that enjoy the pod and feel like they would be one of us.
Yeah.
Let's get him on.
That Peter Crouch Podcast from BBC 5 Live.
Right, Crouchy, we need to put a load of questions to you. You ready?
Yeah, ready.
Okay, this one's from Jenna. Do you remember your pre-season fitness training at Stoke? I was one of the staff at the local university who tested you. You did okay, but Begovic was an absolute beast and wiped the floor with all of you.
I don't think this happened. I think fitness-wise, I would be fitter than him, yeah.
So you're claiming this is bollocks on the sort of fitness tip that you would definitely pass a fitness test. So you're questioning what the test is.
You know, certain departments, people are different. Like my flexibility when I come back off the summer is diabolical. I'm quite a stiff man. I do struggle with that. So we do tests for like suppleness and things like that. But fitness-wise, you know, every pre-season I came back, I was always right up there. You know, for a goalkeeper to have been ahead of me fitness-wise, that's not happening.
He was quite an interesting character, Begovic, wasn't he? So when you're both at Stoke, there's a point where Begovic, quite early in the game, punts the ball out and it sails over your head. You decide to make a gesture, I seem to remember, of just waving at him, tell him to keep it down.
Calm down, relax. Like, don't, just relax, just play out. It's early in the game. And as I'm trying to tell him all this stuff, it's gone in the back of the net.
Do you get offended as a striker, or a bit miffed at least, when a goalkeeper starts scoring?
Yeah, no goalkeeper should be scoring goals unless you go up from Schmeichel's goal was incredible. He scored a couple, didn't he?
If you're on a dry run as a striker and then the goalie scores, you must feel even shitter about yourself, mustn't you?
Yeah, that hurts. I mean, if you've played up front all game, the keeper's come up for one corner, bang one in, and then jog back to his net. It's not ideal.
For me, it just always feels like if a goalkeeper goes up, they have a good chance. So maybe the goalkeeper should just go up more.
There's two very funny things, aren't there? There's the funniness of trying to watch a man who never heads the ball trying to head a ball, and then there's the absolute panic run when they've messed it up and the other team have got the ball and they've got to try and run the length of the pitch.
There's nothing better. There's nothing better than when it breaks and the keeper's trying to get back to his empty net. There is nothing better. The worst one's like the last ditch attempt to get the shot that's going in, and then you see it hit the back of the net and you're just like breathing out of their arse. You know, a mouthful of grass.
You know, if you have to run for a tube and you're absolutely running for a tube and the doors are shutting and you just don't quite make it and the door's shut, and then you have to stand there in front of this full tube just trying to style it out like, yeah, I wasn't running.
I hate it. And you know, when you get the train, like when you do make it, like let's say you've ran and somehow you manage to time it like just as the doors are closing, and it feels amazing because you're on, but no
Massive
one else
buzz
on the train is out of breath and everyone's looking at you and you're sort of just panting and you're weirdly proud and you've made the train, you're happy, and everyone's just looking at you, judging you.
My favourite one is the one that flies in like from nowhere. Everyone's really calm. It's not even a packed train. And so all of a sudden, this one fella just flies in from absolutely nowhere, hits the deck, gets his bag caught on the way in. Christ, what's going on here? And you look at the board and you go, this one like in 2 minutes. How crucial can that 2 minutes be to that man's life?
Boys, we've had a message from Joe. And Joe says, in 2006, Tim Cahill scored a header from a corner for Everton. It isn't clear who's marking him, but Carragher and Crouchy both try and get to the ball. Straight after the goal goes in, Carragher violently pushes Crouchy in the back. Do you remember this?
I think I remember this goal. Well, I remember Carragher pushing me 100%, but I've got the clip here. I'll watch it now.
Yeah, it's not great, Crouchy, is it?
Can I just say that Cahill was very good in the air for someone of his size? Isn't That's not how I remember it, but it's not a great angle, this.
It's not how I remember it. Like, there's an alternative version that's just as accurate.
That's not a defence in court, is it?
No, I've seen what's happened here. So he's got a run on what looks like Momo Sissoko. If we look back on that, I am in the mid-goal space, so I'm there.
What's that? What is the mid-goal space? No manager has said, Crouchy, what we want you to do is just mark the mid-goal space.
It's such a dangerous place. Get into the mid-goal space.
Listen, lads, you got this completely wrong. This is my role for most of my career. Being the tallest and being someone good in the air, supposedly, my responsibility is to go, wherever the ball is, near the middle of the goal, most of the time it will come in that space. I'll go and head it clear. That was my role. What's happened is Momo Sissoko's flat-footed, lost his man. He's come across, and I've only seen him late, and he's got across the front of me as well, which is an error on my part as well. But I wasn't marking him.
So just to clarify this, should Cara actually be shoving Sissoko, or should he be shoving you both?
I think when he gets in at half-time or at the end of the game, I think it'd be Momo Sissoko to be getting a push in the back.
Because the angle, to me, looks a bit...
No, the reason Tim Cahill got so many goals aerially, because he was always on the move and he was clever and cute at getting across someone bigger than him. And if you look at his movement, he's very, very quick to get across me. It doesn't matter what height you are. If someone gets across you at that pace...
Yeah, but you're not marking Cahill, you're marking the mid-goal space. So here's the problem. You've let him get into the mid-goal space.
I'm not exempt of blame, definitely.
So has Carragher turned around to you and gone,
well, as soon as
what the fuck are you doing? You should have marked the mid-goal space, or whatever it is that he would say.
Bit higher, Chris. What was he like, Cara?
I got on great with him, but you've got to earn the respect, definitely. Those games meant more to him than anything because he just get the most stick. I mean, it meant a lot to all of us, but for him to lose to Everton meant so much. It was...
He was an Everton fan as a kid, wasn't he?
He was, but obviously he's gone full circle. I mean, he hated losing against them because he knew he goes to his local pub or all his mates are Evertonians and it's just going to kill him. And Liverpool was his club, so if he felt anyone was taking the piss, not pulling their weight... I remember a couple of times where he felt a couple of players weren't pulling their weight, and there's one particular player in the jacuzzi after training. I remember coming back in and Cara just tearing shreds out of him for basically taking the piss out of the football club, really.
What we can't see on the clip is what happened next. So do you just accept the shove from Cara and then walk back lonely to the halfway line for the kickoff, or do you turn around and do?
Hold on a minute. Here she is.
Abs, watch this.
Abs,
goal.
can you watch this
Look at
clip
this
for us, Abby?
Right? Yeah, just need your opinion here. See this one here, babe, right? So I've got the mid-goal space. If you look at it closely, Momo Sissoko is picking him up.
We had a rabbit call Momo Masoko. We bought it for Ellie and John for Easter, didn't we?
Yeah, didn't end well for Momo.
Do you think Crouchy's at blame for this goal, Abby?
She's not asked really, but can you see me? I'm there, right? I've got the big goal space. Momo Sissoko looks like
big goal space.
Mid-goal space.
Looks like he's picked. Look. But
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm just there to head the ball away. But he has got across me.
How are you, Abby? What's going on? What's news with you?
Well, our new little puppy, Crouchy, has just pooed everywhere.
Has he?
The puppy's called Crouchy.
What?
His name's Sonny Crouch, but we just call him Crouchy.
And what kind of dog is that? It's not an Alsatian. I see you've.
No, it's not an Alsatian because Pete's scared of them. It's a Rottweiler. No, I'm joking. It's a baby
easier.
black lab.
And is Peter a good father to the dog?
He likes
he-
getting in the cage with the dog. He's trying to train him for little bickies. You know, he's a good trainer.
Crouchy, are you going in the cage with the dog to get away from your children?
And wife.
I just love it in that cage.
Is the dog cage bigger than my house?
Dog cage is the biggest one we could get on Amazon. And it does fit Peter in and all 4 children and the dog.
I like the idea if you, if you train this dog up well enough with the discipline you used in your football career, what we could have here is the winner of Britain's Got Talent.
Definitely. I mean, listen, we couldn't get into Crufts last time, could we? We'll train this little bad boy up.
Oh, is that why you've
That's
got a
what we
dog?
need.
You want to
No,
be in
listen.
Crufts?
He doesn't like to fail at anything. You know, he can't admit defeat. So after the whole Crufts episode, he said, I'm getting a dog, I'm going to train it, and I'm going to enter him into Crufts.
God, that's so good. We're going to do Crufts. You're a genius, Pete.
Yeah, we'll get him in, mate. No problem.
Abs, can I ask you a question? Like Crouchy's beard has been fascinating me and Chris.
Yeah, it's quite like 80s
no hair.
pubes, isn't it?
I'd say your beard's a lot more wiry than a pubic zone.
I'm just going to put the dog away while she's dropped the pube bombshell. Bear with.
This is an extraordinary podcast today.
Why do we let her in this fucking thing? Oh, here she is again. Christ almighty.
It just knocked me sick when I read that thing online about how a man's beard carries more bacteria than a whole dog's fur and it just festers and the germs just go wild in there and it's just totally put me off.
We
Ideal.
should test your beard, shouldn't we? That would be fun to do. We could get you a couple of strands.
Could do
of
a
it
little
sent
swab on it and grow the culture and see,
Fuck
see what comes up. I've learned a new germ this week as well. Campylobacter. What dogs get from eating raw chicken.
What's in Pete's beard? It's a game show ready to go.
Campylobacter. That's guess number 1.
That sounds like one of those words that used to happen on Football Italia.
Gabriella Campylobacter.
The calcio.
Go, 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 go.
Lacho.
The thing is, it's not even a beard. It's like it grows outwards, it doesn't grow down. I think is there a point where it gets heavy and then grows down like a normal beard? And also, I haven't got any hair on my cheeks, so it's just a goatee.
Or chest. He's got like 2 hairs on each nipple.
No, I'm the same actually, Abs. It's a funny one. Some of us aren't blessed with hair everywhere.
You're like a seal.
Yeah, like a long seal.
We've been doing hypnosis, like a calm and collective get you through the day. I don't know if Pete's told you that.
He's not mentioned a word about that, Abby, at all, ever.
No, run us
Not-
through
not
how
a
this
swing.
works.
Yeah, surprisingly so. Like, there's a hell of a lot that you seem to reveal on here that I don't tell them.
What's the tape?
The first one I did was a sleep one, supposed to help with your sleep.
He thought he was a man in the bush signalling another man last night.
Oh God,
Yeah.
this is great.
Crouchy, what's happened here?
Yeah, last night, for instance, there was an owl type noise, but it sounded like a human making an owl noise.
An owl type noise.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Why do we get her on this?
And it was one of them nights where you're like, the kids have all gone to bed on time, so you know you can have an a little relaxing early night, and he just ruined it with this man pretending to be an owl in the bush.
All I can imagine is the little mouse that Crouchy's talked about before running up there. That's all I can see.
Crouchy naked except for the marigolds.
Thankfully, the mouse wasn't in this house.
My mate told me this idea, right, and I nearly did it. Treat your partner to a spa day, right, by dressing up as someone from the spa, and then giving them a little menu of the massages they can have and things like that. And do you know what I mean? Sort of role playing the whole spa experience.
No, that doesn't work in our house. My feet were throbbing. And I was like, can you give my feet a massage? And he said, why would I want to touch your feet?
Oh,
no, but she had been out in the garden all day, and there was like black tar all over the bottom of her, on the soles of her
I get a shower before bed, you weirdo. Such a liar.
in my defence. But that was similar to the fireman one we did the other night.
What
Oh,
fireman?
what was this one?
Fireman role play that we did.
Oh, when you made me put the whole fireman male outfit on, yeah. Put this Matt Damon mask on.
We've cottoned onto something good tonight, though, guys. And because, Abs, you appear on this podcast semi-regularly. I quite like us pulling out the odd moment from Crouch's football life. Fascinating seeing your side to it.
That wasn't a very good one because, number one, I hate football. And every time I watch football, it just looks like loads of men running around to me. Only one.
It's true in some capacity.
Only person impresses me is Ronaldo.
Messi does nothing for you?
Totally not. He's just got no pizzazz.
It's got no pizzazz.
Who do you reckon, out of interest, Abs, who's the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, would you say?
Oh, David James.
David James.
What do you think of Andy Bayor?
Andy Bayor.
Yeah, Andy Bayor. So she's literally, right? So the amount of times I've told her that his name is Emmanuel Adebayor, she still calls him to this day Andy Bayor. And when we...
It's a better name. It's a better name for him.
Name. I think from now, this day forward, Emmanuel Adebayor is known as Andy Bayor.
Can we ask you about something you said? You described the podcast as something that Crouchy does with his two silly mates.
Silly little mates, Chris.
Silly little mates.
They want answers.
I've always thought we got on.
It was Parch that got me. I just didn't even think it was that funny in the first place to cause such a phenomenon. And I was just like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Parch. I'm sick of the podcast. I'm sick of you two silly boys.
Crouchy's done the robot again because it's 100 Premier League goals for Peter Crouch.
That Peter Crouch Podcast from BBC 5 Live.
Hello lads, Casper Schmeichel here again. I just wanted to pick up on something that Chris mentioned a while ago. He thinks Ben Foster's the best keeper in the league. So where do I rank?
Ooh, that's a little awkward. A little bit awkward, Chris.
Well, it's not awkward for me. I stand by my guns that Ben Foster's the best goalie in the league. I'd put it to both of you that you named other people above Ben Foster, but you didn't include Schmeichel. I'll throw it over to you, lads. Where does he rank?
The thing is with this question is he did name check you and did ask you the question.
Yeah, so where does he rank, Chris?
Definitely top 5, yeah.
Where are you sticking Edison, Allison?
Well, yeah, but we've already said 2 and 3 for them, haven't we?
Dean Henderson might be up there.
I'd be more willing to put Henderson above the other two. You got me thinking it. I would say Kasper Schmeichel technically is a goalkeeper that has played for the same club for a certain amount of time. I mean, God, how long has he been with Leicester now? What he's achieved, what he continues to achieve. If you're judging goalkeepers based on something slightly more than just a snapshot of now, Kasper Schmeichel is top 3, isn't he?
Nice to see Chris backtracking under a bit of pressure here. I'm going to see if I can get Kasper on the pod.
That Peter Crouch Podcast from BBC 5 Live.
It's that time again where Tom tries to sell another podcast.
I think that's a nice idea, Crouch. You haven't done it so far on this series. Everyone's got a bit more time on their hands, a bit more pod listening time. They might want to listen to the Match of the Day podcast. Gary Lineker, Ian Wright, Alan Shearer, ranking a different top 10 in every episode. They've already chosen their top 10 Premier League goalkeepers, goal scorers, managers and foreign imports. Just search for Match of the Day on BBC Sounds.
Well, let me stop you there. Why don't you rank them then? Because it feels to me that If that's their whole podcast thing, right? Someone at some point's got to give them a sort of taste of their own medicine. So,
well, we'll hold on a minute. So, like, what are we talking? Do you know what I mean? Like, are we talking, you know, my favourite players or...
This week, I'd like you to base them on looks.
Looks.
Lineker, because he's got all his hair. Crouchy, help me out with this one.
You're Lineker first.
I think so.
I'll agree with that. I'll go Ian Wright second. I don't think he's aged too much facially.
Whereas Shearer
looks great for his age as well.
Well played.
He does though. Like, I can't say he doesn't, because he does, doesn't he? They all do look good for their age.
See, for me, Lineker's had too much work done. I'd go Shearer first, Wright second, Lineker third.
You're putting Lineker third.
You think Lineker's gone really downhill?
No, it's just not my bag. You know,
not your bag. Listen, hey, you put me in an awkward position there.
Chris, are you not worried that Lineker, Wright and Shearer might be doing exactly the same for the three of us?
They won't lower themselves.
Pretty sure they're not doing that.
So after all that, just search for Match of the Day on BBC Sounds.
The worst sell of a podcast. This is the BBC.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.